it seems to me that the fans just want to hear about narratives and who's the GOAT and this and that and all these different types of things. Okay. So I said to BJ, I'm going to do an experiment for the rest of the season. I'm going to make both
Mhm.
types of content and I'm going to see which one gets more interactions. So I put out a tweet about the Stephen A and Bronny and LeBron situation.
Mhm.
And that was my most engaged tweet of the season so far. Even though every day I tweet about basketball and what's happening in the games and stuff, the most engaged tweet I had was about Bronny and Stephen A. Smith. And then I, for the next 48 hours, proceeded to be harassed by racial abuse and death threats from fans of LeBron James. Not that I said anything really bad about them. I just said, if you're a player in the NBA, it's fair to be criticized. But it was a sad realization because now fans can't enjoy basketball. They've been conditioned, whether it's through the media, through the way the league's been marketed, through the impact of social media. Maybe COVID altered everyone's brain chemistry. But it feels to me that fans can no longer enjoy and appreciate the sport of basketball in the way it's meant to be appreciated. Instead, they have started worshiping these players in a way of a false idol or a celebrity. And a lot of people don't care about the sport of basketball. They're using the NBA as their celebrity fix. They're using LeBron James as their equivalent of a Kim Kardashian. That's just who they worship. They don't care what happens in the game as long as they can get on the internet and talk about their favorite player. And, anyone who says anything that they slightly disagree with, they then lose their minds. And I just feel sorry for the grown ass adults who are sitting in their houses getting angry enough to try and find my
Mhm.
location and send me death threats because I said, okay, we can criticize this guy. Number one, I ain't like these other losers in the media. If you try and find me, pull up on me. I ain't scared of none of you losers on the internet. Number two, I just feel sorry for you. LeBron don't know you. You're never going to meet LeBron. He's never going to even know you exist. Yet here you are, willing to put your life on the line for someone who don't know you exist. You lot are all losers. I just feel sorry for you at this point. So, we sit here and we break down the game,
Mhm.
and I just think if we came here as if we were ESPN employees and spoke about the GOAT debate every week, we'd probably double our subscribers by tomorrow. And I think that's just a damning indictment on the state of sports fandom. I don't know what it's like in other sports. I don't really follow other sports too closely. I like football, I like UFC, I like boxing. But NBA fandom right now, the fans have been so conditioned to not be able to appreciate the sport of basketball. The Celtics played the Lakers this weekend in a fascinating game. I go on Twitter afterwards, and fans are laughing about the fact Tatum and Brown played over 40 minutes of basketball. And I'm like, do you guys not enjoy watching basketball? That was the most expensive game that the Celtics have ever sold tickets for. And you're laughing at the fact that the players played a lot of minutes in the biggest rivalry in the NBA. That's what we're meant to see. They think it's a negative thing that players are playing lots of minutes in these games. And I just think everyone's finished. I just think that the minds of the fans have been cooked. And I don't know what the exact reason is. And I'm trying to figure that out. But, it's quite a sad space for the league to be in, that the fans no longer care about the nuances of the game. They just care about what their player did and if what their player did can be used in an argument on the internet, which is not even a real place, with strangers that they don't know to further the case because they have an emotional attachment to another human being who's unaware of their existence. And it made me question a lot of things about humanity because I just thought, what's wrong with everyone? Do you know what I mean? Like the sport of basketball is so amazing and it's so interesting to watch, yet people have stopped caring about that. And then everyone says, oh, the media coverage is rubbish. They don't talk about this and that. Well, you as fans are choosing to engage with the nonsense rather than the people who are actually creating content that is insightful and interesting. And that's where I'm at with it. I just think, if we come here now every week and we do, oh, who's the greatest player of all time? Oh, who's the greatest point guard of all time? Oh, who's the MVP? This guy was robbed for MVP. If we just did that 5 times a week, I think we could have the biggest show in the world. Because I think right now what we have is the best show in the world because we actually talk about basketball. But if we just did the BS that all these other networks are feeding to people and the fans have been conditioned to care about, I just think we would make a lot more money. And at the end of the day, everything's
Mm.
a business. So you can't be mad at ESPN for not covering the game properly. ESPN is a business. They're putting out whatever people want to click on the most. And you, as fans, because you're clicking on it, you're signaling to them that that's what you want to see. And they're going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And then you're going to come here and complain, oh, they don't cover the game properly. It's a business. They're trying to make money and you falling into their trap. So that was my weekend. That was my weekend. So what do you guys think about the fandom? Because I wasn't around in the 70s and the 80s and I was born in the 90s. But what was it like being a fan before I guess the internet corrupted the minds of the people who claim they watch the games, but I don't think they even watch the games anymore. I think they just look at the box score and say, "Oh, my favorite player had," you know, for example, that Celtics Lakers game. The Celtics did an amazing job against Luka Doncic, right? Jalen Brown is probably one of the best players in the league at guarding Luka Doncic. Al Horford, at the age of 38, is guarding Luka Doncic and LeBron James. But then I go online and I see the fans saying, "Oh, Luka had a great game. He had 34 and 8 rebounds and da, da, da." But did we watch the same thing? Did we watch the same thing? Like LeBron played, Luka played, but Jason Tatum was the best player on the floor. But no one wants to talk about that. They want to tell me, and this is the lamest thing that I see in the media, in the world, they talk about this word called aura. I see Colin Cowherd sitting on the internet talking about when I close my eyes and think of Michael Jordan, and I close my eyes and I think of LeBron James. When I close my eyes and think of Jason Tatum, I don't see it. Bro, why are you closing your eyes and thinking of these guys? That's weird, Colin. That's a weird thing to do. He's like, when I close my eyes, I think of Michael's smile and magic. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Watch the damn games. Watch the damn games and talk about what's happening on the court. That's weird behavior. This aura thing, that's weird. I don't care who's got aura. Do you know what I care about? I care about who's winning the basketball game. I don't care what you think of this guy's aura. What does that even mean? I think aura just means whichever player you have the biggest crush on. You lot, if that's what you're on, do your thing. But I'm here to talk about basketball. I'm not here to talk about which player I think has the best smile in the NBA. Colin Cowherd. That was weird. So, you know, what do you guys think about the state of NBA fandom right now? I don't know how much
No,
that impacts what you guys do, but
no, it really doesn't, Mo. You bring up a lot of points. This really what you're talking about. You could dedicate an entire show or shows to. I think the difference is when I was coming up as a fan, there was no 24-hour sports media, first and foremost. And that's what you're seeing now. And the average fan's ability to take part in the news cycle now, which was not the case before. BJ will recall when we were growing up, we had to wait to the 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock news to catch a few highlights of basketball games, or wait till the next morning and read about it in the newspaper. So it's an entirely different time that we're living in, and I just think that's reflective in what's transpiring now, because there's a calling, a need, I guess, for there to be new news all the time. The moment a story is released nowadays, it becomes old news. The longest it may last is a day or two.
mm,
Because then it's on to the next story. So it's always something that's trying to be broken. So that's why I think you see a lot of attention now being paid, not only to what's transpiring on the court, which we have the biggest affinity for and what we cover here on this Hoop Genius podcast, but there is also a segment, as you just articulated, that is very interested into all of the other things surrounding the game, that's behind the scenes of the game, the theater, everything outside of what's being happening on that 94 by 53 dimension. So just interesting times, Mo. That's all. That's my own take on it. I don't know what BJ thinks, but that's my quick take on it.
Well, I mean, there's so much to unpack there, but we have choices. And if anything, especially us who are a little bit more experienced, you have choices and you have a lot of choices now. Mo, you make fun of me for not being I am not a social media person. I don't, I've made that choice not to engage so that I can participate, you know? And when I say participate, you know, you can look at this from a lot of different perspectives. But the most important thing is, are you invested into the income, like you mentioned here, you know, recently? Are you investing into the income or are you investing into the outcome? I've made a conscious choice to give back to the game because of one word, love. I love it. I love the game, the people who play. And but there are a lot of people who are with the game for other reasons, right? I mean, with the popularity of the game, you know, certainly Scott and I are a little older than you, most, so we saw the game prior to it becoming this popular global game that you currently see today. I mean, Scott and I are both old enough to remember when the NBA Finals was tape delayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
We were old enough to remember where you didn't get a chance to be this connected to the NBA. The games weren't on television every single day, let alone the coverage that you have today via various outlets. So this comes with the territory. I think, you know, it requires now discipline to be a fan, where before it was more specialized. You know, you had your basketball fans who followed the basketball. You had your football fans in various sports, and these people were, you had to make an effort. Like Scott said, we had to make an effort to be a fan. Now it's just accessible. You turn on your phone, you get the scores, you look at a few highlights. Now you're an expert. That's how it is. And in addition to that, now you have a platform to give your view
Right.
based on what?
Hmm.
So to give your view is based on popularity. So just because you're popular doesn't mean that you are qualified to speak on that. So again, we've accomplished what we thought was never possible. You have unprofessional people commenting about a professional sport in a way we've never seen. That's what you have. You know, there on this, the reason I love you guys is because we all take responsibility for what we say. So when we take responsibility for what you say, then you have to, you know, you have to have some critical thinking. No one's, you go about these GOAT debates and all these things. Okay, in order to go through the GOAT debate, you got to go through and study all of the people that have played and the circumstances in which they played. So it's an argument when you look at it from its core, it's just everyone's giving their opinion. However, is it fun to give your opinion and argue with your fans, argue with your friends quietly about something? Yes. But to go out and say such and such is the greatest player, when we all know this, right? These are the facts. The facts are minus my opinion.